On today's ProPresenter show, sending text from ProPresenter over the network and keying out the background in OBS for live streaming. Hi again, and welcome to the ProPresenter show. Each week we talk about the features, challenges, and tips and tricks for using Renewed Vision's worship software, ProPresenter. My name's Paul Allen Clifford. I'm your host. Up until recently, if you'd asked me how to live stream from ProPresenter, I would have said to enable siphon in preferences and send that into OBS on a slave computer using the master control module. I've recently learned of another way to do it though, so let's head over to my computer and take a look. I've mentioned before that I'm a member of various church tech groups. Well, this hack came from Jonathan Gale over at Church Sound and Media Techs. He found the stage display viewer software that you can get on GitHub. Here it is. Let me reload this real quick. I'm using an extension to keep all my tabs down to a manageable level. So anyway, here it is. This is, if you go to github.com/Daniel Kilgren, Daniel Kilgren, Stage Display Viewer, you can get this project that he's put together. Now, you might think that you would click here. Don't do that. I tried it. Doesn't work at all. So what you actually want to do is scroll down here to releases and download the latest release. Once you download that, I'll go ahead and do this. It's going to save a zip file. This isn't a very big piece of software whatsoever. So let me go to Finder, and I'll show you. I've already unzipped it, and once you do that, you've got some things that you can tweak. So first, let me show you the config properties here, and we'll open this up in a text editor. And the first thing you should know is anytime you see this pound sign or the hashtag symbol, this is a comment. So you don't need to change anything in there because that's really not going to help you whatsoever. Now, under host, it says here the default was localhost, but I changed this to the IP address of the computer. So let's make sure this is still the case. I'm going to go into System Preferences. Let's see here, System Preferences, and then I'm going to go into Network. And make sure that I have my network that I have selected correctly. I'm going to go into TCP/IP, and IP address is 192.168.0.5 and 192.168.0.5, so that's still correct. Now, if we fire up Pro 6 here, let me shut that down. I don't need to save that. We've got a couple of other things we need to change. We need to make sure that we've got the port set correctly, and we need to make sure that we've got the password set correctly. So let's give ProPresenter just a second to start up, and then we'll go from there. Now, once we're in ProPresenter, we're going to go into ProPresenter Preferences. And then Advanced, I believe. No, it's Network, I think. So just a second here. It's being a little slow since I'm capturing this, and running a couple of things in the background here, so just a moment. Okay. Let's actually network, yes. So enable network, we need to make sure that that is selected. Then we also need to make sure that we go to enable stage display app. We need to know this password. I put in 1234. If that's the code on your luggage, I'm sorry, you'll just have to change it. But 1234 is the password, and the port number here is 45678. So make sure you make note of those two things. So basically the only thing you need for this to work is you need the enable network selected. I'll go ahead and return these to where I had them. And enable stage display app, password, and port. So if we go back to my text editor, you'll notice that the password 1234 is there. I've already pasted that in, and the port 45678 is in there. So that should be good to go. The others are things that will change kind of the look of it, so you can tweak those, but those are all there as we go. So I'll go ahead and shut that, and we'll come back to this here in just a second. So I'll shut that down. Now let's start up the viewer. Let me make sure that I have some text running. By the way, now this is ugly. Let me change to something else that's less ugly. I was playing around with things earlier. Maybe this. No, I'm not sure that that's what I want. Yeah, this will work. Okay. Let me actually do that. So you see how this is at the top? That's going to be really important here in just a second. Now, once you do this the first time, you might have to restart your computer. I did. I wrestled with it over and over again, thinking I'm doing something wrong, I'm doing something wrong. I noticed that someone else said, well, I restarted my computer and it worked fine. So I've already done that, and so let me go back into Finder here, and you might need to download something from Apple to make this work, but that's if you're running on a Mac like I am. This can run over the network. That's why the IP address was necessary. It can also run between Mac and PC, or we can even use a Linux distro to do this. So theoretically, you could even have this running on something like a Raspberry Pi. It's really lightweight. I mean, you see the file sizes. They're measured in bytes and kilobytes. So really lightweight. So let's go ahead and start this once ProPresenter is running, and let's see what it does here. So let me bring this over here. Now when you do this, it will actually have a black background and not this chroma key green. But remember that this over here, minimize that, this is what we're seeing when we go out to the screen, but this is what it shows up in the stage display viewer. So nothing's stopping me from minimizing this down to save some space too. So I can do that here, and then I have a new window that I can key out. And you might be thinking, well, how is that helpful to me? Well, it's helpful because you could bring up something like Wirecast or OBS, Open Broadcaster software, and use this from here on over the network. I'm using it on one computer because I'm doing this tutorial for you. So you could have this show up on another computer over the network, so that computer doesn't have to run both ProPresenter and the stage display viewer window. And then that computer, you can bring up OBS, and let me do that. If my computer doesn't bog down with just way too much software. Let me shut this down. Not ProPresenter, but that. And I can shut that down now. And OBS is starting right here. While that's doing that, let me show you how you change the background color. Because I told you that natively it's black, but I changed this to chroma key green so that I can key it out as opposed to tricking it. So here we are in OBS, and you'll see that it is showing just this black background. And I don't have a camera hooked up right now, but you can trust me that, actually, let me just, instead of doing this, I will add a video capture device, and video capture. No, it's not the video capture I want. I want camera. Well, that at least gives you the gist of it, that it's actually capturing this screen, and OBS has the ability to capture what's underneath by choosing a specific window. So you'll notice that while this moves, this is underneath it here, and it's still capturing this information. So that's a pretty neat function. And let me show you how I did that. So that's this lower third one. First off, let's just create a new scene. Let's call this lower third test. Click OK. Now I need a source, and I'm going to do a, let's see, window capture. And let's give this a name. Let's say window capture 2. Okay, now I need to find a window. So Java Stage Display Lower Key Viewer. So that does that. So we're good there, but we need to do a little more to it. That's not where it is. It's actually up here under Tools, maybe? Ah, yeah, you right-click and it's Filters. So now we need to add some effects to this. Let's click here. And first off, we're going to crop the top of this. So let's try 10. 40. Yep, that did it. Okay. Now we're going to add another thing, a color key. Actually, let's do a chroma key instead. Chroma key. And there, we've done that. Okay, close that. And see how that's working. I can move this anywhere I want it to be. Let's say I want it to be in lower third because it's a lower third. Now let me add in a an image, a video capture device. There we go. That's what I want. Now I'm going to do a new one just to show you how to do this. Let's do device, built-in eyesight, and we'll see me. I'm not looking too hot, I don't think. Yep, there I am. Okay. So you see me wiggling my fingers here, and I want to actually put that on top so you see that right now this is me live with the video from my eyesight on my old MacBook Pro with this lower third right here. So that's pretty neat. But I still need to show you how to change this to green. So let me kill OBS real quick. Because you can absolutely do this with the black background, but you've got to be careful that you don't key out the outline and any glow or anything that you have there. So in order to change that background, let's go back into my text editor. Yeah, I minimized that. Let me show you what the file is that we're dealing with. We're dealing with styles.css. Now, stylescopy.css was not original. That was the original. It's a copy of the original. That's what I'm trying to say. So let me open that up to show you what it looked like. So the original one, you'll notice it has -fx background -color ::# 000. 000, that's the short code for the RGB of black. So I wondered, I just saw that styles file and I thought, I wonder if I can change the background, because this says background color. I wonder if I can change it to green. So I looked up what the code for just solid green, pure green was, and if we go here into styles.css, you'll notice that it's 00FF00. So I just changed that, and that's what changed the background. Make sure that the title of the document is styles.css, and you can change this color. Just look up what the hex value is for whatever color you want the background to be. I'd recommend, probably you're going to want FF for the first two, and then 0000 for red, or like this for green, or the last two as FFs, the rest are zeros, for blue. This is probably a good way to do it, but that's what you're going to want to do. Change that before you start up the Stage Display lower key viewer software, and you should be good to go. So you can use this trick to get the text from ProPresenter into OBS for live streaming purposes. So pretty cool little trick, and a way to get around the problem of running both OBS and ProPresenter on the same machine if really the machine isn't up to doing both things. Well, I hope you found that interesting. As it turns out, there's all sorts of projects on GitHub that can make ProPresenter do things you may not thought of. So, make sure you check back frequently for more tutorials on those coming in the near future. By the way, if you like learning about ProPresenter this way, head over to tdm.fyi/Pro6Mini to sign up for one of my ProPresenter 6 mini courses on picking out the right hardware for ProPresenter, creating Pro 6 presentations, running ProPresenter during church, using ProPresenter if you're a pastor or teacher, or taking your ProPresenter knowledge to the next level with some of my favorite hacks, tips, and tricks. Did I mention they're all free instead of the normal $19 tuition fee? If you'd like to get one or all of my full-length ProPresenter courses, just head over to learnpropresenterfast.com. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford from TrinityDigitalMedia.com. Go out and change eternity. Hey, real quick, click subscribe and the little bell icon to find out when I release each new tutorial. You never know when I'll throw something else into the mix for those who watch first, so it's a great reason to do it as well.